So Bonnie posted this picture. Let's do it this way. That's how it should go. And this is actually a Zentangle card that would be on about 3.5 by 3.5. It's about this size. So this is blown up on my computer. And I don't know who the artist is, but they did sign it right here. It's CAO. Anytime I see anything or if I talk about anything, I like to give credit to the artist. And I never want to copy an artist's work. And I also said last week that what turned me on to Zentangles and tangling was Amber Davis in the Alta New Academy class Zentangle for Card Makers. And I'm trying very hard not to use any of the tangles that she teaches because it was a fabulous class and I encourage everybody. I know Dana said she already signed up for the class and she ordered the book that we talked about last week. So I always try to give credit where credit is due. So this artist, CAO, whomever that is, I'm giving credit. So really, when I looked at this, Bonnie said she wanted to see how we could do something like this in our Zentangle scenes. And I looked at it, and when I see something like this, I kind of break it down. What do I see? Well, the first thing I notice, obviously, is she very much, it's pleasing to the eye because she followed the basic artist rules, and there's 3 of these kind of dandelion flowers. There's 5 of these kind of seed pod flowers, and it kind of moves left to right the way that we read here in the United States. I know some languages go right to left, but English it's left to right, and it kind of pulls the eye around, and almost has a little triangle right here that I see. It's almost broken into 2 parts, but I see kind of a triangle here. All those kinds of things that kind of makes it pleasing. Pam says she bought the seahorse. I bought Sebastian too. I forgot. I couldn't stand not getting Sebastian. I hadn't planned on it. He wasn't on my wish list, but I added him to the cart today too. So there's some basic basic tangles that I see here. And the first one is all these lines. This is called an aura, and it's very basic, and it's added to add interest or as a filler to other tangles. And you can go around something just like this, or it can be used just as like a filler right here. So let's talk about auras. I will say that Amber talks about auras in the class, and these lights are still bothering me, guys. I'm sorry. That's a little bit better. Let me see if I can move them. That's better. Everything's not so washed out. Turn them that way. Okay. So in the class, and I used this is Alta New Build-A-Flower Poppy. I actually created one of my favorite cards of all time using this stamp. And so an aura is just a line that you draw, and it can flow and it can be curvy, and I kind of think of auras a lot of times as following when I add them to a flower, they're following the flow of the petal. So on this one, on one of my favorite cards that I created, I used this stamp, and I only drew auras on the petals that would be the outside showing. So, and I'm going to follow where we think the petal would go. And sometimes they make it easy, and there's already a little line drawn to start us off. And you can have auras further apart or closer together. It's whatever you like and whatever is pleasing to you. So in the class in Alta New Academy, Amber talks about how we can add tangles the art of Zentangle to our cards and a lot of our stamped images. And I think this, with this stamp and this kind of outline, adds a lot of drama and interest. I love it. So start looking at stamp sets. I even now, when I'm buying a stamp set, I'll think, how many different ways can I use this? Can I add tangles to it? What am I going to watercolor it? Am I going to Copic color it? And with we've talked about this before with some of the Altenews sets. How many different ways and completely different cards can I create with one stamp set? So see the interest, and you can imagine the shading and the drama that adds. If you look on my Instagram or on my blog, you'll see the card I created with this, and I added Zentangles, and it's so pretty. It's one of my favorite cards. So that's called an aura. It's just adding lines to add interest or as a filler around something else or within a drawing. So that's one tangle that I see on this. Obviously, this artist used a lot of tangles. Okay, so another very simple, let me find my little card. Another very simple tangle that I see is kind of the ends of these dandelions. And even right here, that's called fescue. It's a tangle called fescue. And all it is, it's very simple. You just take it up and you just add a little thing on the end and fill it in. You can use fescue just as it would be in nature, as a fescue grass, or you add it onto other tangles for interest. You can use it as a filler, all kinds of things. So that's fescue. Now, if we add some shading to it, makes it even a little bit more interesting. Still, these lights are not making me happy tonight. You know what it might be? Let me turn off this other light. Oh, that's even a little bit better. Okay. We can even take what's left on our tortillon and kind of add some shadows without actually adding any extra pencil to that. See that one? Let's see if I turn this off. A little bit better? No. Still not thrilled. I'll get these lights right, guys. So there's fescue. Okay. So let's see. We've got fescue here, or the basic idea of it, or just, a little circle. That's definitely looks more like fescue, and every artist does it their own way. And then finally, these little seed pods. And everybody, you see all kinds of little, to me, these right here look kind of like a poppy pod. And this just looks like a kind of seed pod of some sort. So, let's talk about that one. So I have to tell you, after playing today, and like I said, everybody comes up with their own kind of style. So I came up with one that actually looks kind of like a flower, and I kind of like it. So I begin by drawing the little pod. Do you guys find that like one side of your circles or one side of anything, it just never quite looks as good as the other side, but okay. And then we're going to add a little bottom and fill it in. And then I'm going to add a little top. This kind of reminds me of my cone flowers in my garden. And then what do I do? Okay, so then let's draw some petals. And this actually started out, these petals, I started drawing them and they were leaves. And they look pretty as leaves, but then I started adding them and they kind of looked like petals to me. So for this, we'll draw petals. So there's that. Now let's fill in some petals behind. Okay. So there's my petals, and then of course we need a little stem. And I will tell you one thing that I find, the less tight I grip my pen, and if I can move it further back, it makes a lighter line. It's not as bold, and I like it better. So that's a little tip that I have if you can do that. But then you see I kind of move my fingers up. It's difficult to do. And then I'm just going to add kind of a variation of the fescue at the top. There we go. So that's kind of like, and I don't know if somebody else has drawn this before. I didn't see it anywhere. It's just kind of what I came up with when I was looking at these seed pods on here, and how can I take that idea and kind of add my own style to it and turn it into something that kind of looks like Lavinia and something that would be pretty that we would like to do. And so Zentangles all have names, so I don't know why today, but I came up with the name Floibal because it's a flower, and I don't know. I don't know why I came up with that name, but that's what I named it. So let's see about adding that into our scene. And I think I'm going to try to add that one over here.